For more on Canada's response to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, let's bring in the Premier of British Columbia, Canada, David Eby. Mr. Premier, welcome.
Good morning, Mike.
What is the biggest impact of these new tariffs on folks and businesses in British Columbia?
Well, we just learned yesterday that our softwood lumber industry is facing a doubling of tariffs. We sold about $7 billion of lumber to the United States last year. It's 1 in 10 sticks of lumber used in the United States. Those are going up probably by about 50% in cost for Americans as a result of this new import tax. Obviously, huge anxiety among timber producers in British Columbia and in Canada as a result of this. And it comes after the new taxes on importing car parts and cars to the United States, which will add about $5,000 to the cost of a car in the United States.
President Trump on Truth Social says China played it wrong. They panicked. The one thing they cannot afford to do. Can you understand why President Trump would be trying to cut a better deal for American businesses and workers?
Oh, 100%. You know, we have similar challenges in Canada. We want to build stuff faster. We have people who feel that they get further and further away from break even at the end of each month. These are anxieties that are shared, unsurprisingly, between Canadians and Americans. But I can tell you that if I put a 50% tax on building materials coming into British Columbia, I wouldn't last long in office. And that's what we're trying to communicate to the president, to Americans, is look, we're providing what you need, what you can't get from other places. We provide critical minerals here. China's cut off access to germanium, which you need for the defense industry. It only comes from British Columbia. And so let's work together on these key issues. There's really no point in us fighting each other. It just raises costs for Americans. And that's the point of the billboards and the messages we're trying to deliver to Americans.
There is clearly international heartburn about the tariffs. Let's play this.
The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. This is not the act of a friend.
They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and in our judgment, misguided. We must respond with both purpose and force.
The global economy will massively suffer. Uncertainty will spiral and trigger the rise of further protectionism.
Does that stress and unhappiness lead you to believe that there will be some agreements, some deals cut?
Well, we're a little further down the road here in Canada because we had the tariff threat from the president on fentanyl-related issues that he was concerned about. And so we've gone through what the rest of the world is just going through right now. What we're seeing is, and what you've heard our prime minister say is, we're going to be working with other countries around the world to build a coalition. People who still believe in free trade, who still believe in those core values that we share with the United States around democracy and freedom, but that are wanting to work together and not fight each other. It's not something that we prefer to do. The U.S., I mean, family, friends, long-time business relationships and supply chains. But we're kind of being forced into this situation. What you can expect to see, I would expect from the rest of the world, is what you've already seen from Canada, is measured retaliation that's going to increase costs for Americans and hurt everybody in terms of the global economy, but at the checkout for Americans.
Canada has countered U.S. auto tariffs. Let's put that on the screen and show our audience. Bottom line, do you expect those will have an impact on Americans seeking to buy vehicles?
Well, we recognize that compared to the size of the United States market, Canada is quite small. And so the approach we've taken in terms of retaliation is quite targeted to send a specific message to particular swing states and to key Republicans about how intertwined we are. I imagine that's what you'll see from the rest of the world as well. When we put an import tax on Canadians, a tariff, we get the same phone calls that I'm sure representatives are getting across the states right now. Look, this is going to increase our costs. So we're trying to avoid doing what the president's doing, which is increasing costs for Americans.
Premier of British Columbia, David Eby, grateful for your time today, sir. Thanks very much.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.